Welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce this Wednesday. Today we're talking about health and wellness, and right now we want to dive into bad breath. Joining me to tackle this topic, I have Dr. Peter Irungu, who's a dental surgeon with Shine Dental Clinic. Good to have you on the show. I've been dying to talk about dental health for a long time, so I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So about 2.4% actually of the population, adult population, suffers from bad breath, according to some statistics we've gathered. And that's, you know, a significant number, I mean, for something like bad breath.
Yes.
So let's begin by looking at the causes of bad breath.
All right. Bad breath can be classified into two. We have what we call physiologic. In medical terms, we call it halitosis. But to the layman, we call it bad breath. So we have what we call physiologic halitosis, and we have what we call pathologic halitosis.
Okay.
So physiologic is just the quick one whereby your mouth is destined to have a different kind of a breath, especially when you close your mouth. The reason being, the contents in your mouth, one, includes what we call saliva, which is the moisture that keeps your mouth wet and moist. And then you have some normal bacteria, which are normal flora, which should flourish in your mouth. They should not cause any harm unless their quantities increase to alarming levels. So in normal situations, we'll always have a significant quantity of bacteria in your mouth, and we have the saliva. And what we get is that bacteria will always be thriving and producing some gases.
Right, and as you continue, we actually have an illustration there on the screens showing, what is that showing? It's showing some movement, I guess, within the insides. I guess this is what you're talking about. Sometimes when you have flora and it's too much.
Okay. There's part of it is coming, like now we are within the oral cavity, and that is the tooth, that is the gum. That is, those are some of the procedures that we undertake in the mouth.
Right.
And, I think the first illustration started all the way from the stomach, which I would like first to
address.
No, I think I'll deviate away from that because some people will always try to get it wrong, like they say there could be some bad breath coming from the stomach, which is not the case, because your stomach has what we call sphincters or valves on the top part of it. So anything that goes in cannot come out unless you belch it out, and that's why belching is a bit forceful. So we always like to desist from members thinking that, or the public thinking that there could be a problem in the stomach that is giving them bad breath.
Right.
So most of the bad breath in the mouth is only limited to the mouth itself. Rarely will it come beyond, unless at most at the throat. Anything below that level, unless it's a very serious disease like a cancerous tumor or something like that, which is comes with so many other symptoms, bad breath won't be the first thing. Okay. So we were at the point of the physiologic halitosis, whereby we said about the bacteria in the mouth, and as they flourish, any living organism will always breathe out some gases, including human beings. So most of the times when the bacteria in the mouth, they'll always be producing some gases. And that is why every time, most of the people, if you open your mouth after closing it for a long time, maybe in a meeting, you'll always feel like, oops, my breath was not fresh. Yes, exactly. When you wake up in the morning, that is the same thing. Why? Because you had closed your mouth the whole night, and the bacteria had all the time to multiply. They were breaking down all the foodstuffs they would get, and one of the products they were producing was a gas. So that gas must be different from the clean environment. And that should not worry people so much. We only get worried when we get to pathologic halitosis. That is where the problem begins. Pathologic halitosis is a sign or a symptom of gum disease. The gum is the red cover that covers your jaw and the roots of your teeth. And your normal gum should always be healthy and pink in color, and should not be swollen at any one time. As we mentioned, we always have bacteria in your mouth, we have saliva, and we have foodstuffs that you keep eating every day. So every moment there's some element of a mixture. This is like a pot where the bacteria come in, the foodstuffs come in, and the saliva is there to mix them. So you keep eating, swallowing, brushing, and all that, but there is always something left on your tooth, which is called dental plaque. Plaque is a soft layer of, we call it a pellicle. It's just like a thin film that lines your teeth. And in everyone, including someone who has just brushed right now, we have what we call the freshly made dental plaque. So it forms because of that mixture I've talked about: saliva, bacteria, and whatever food particles may be in the mouth. So even if you brush, it forms within a few minutes. If you want to feel it, maybe for those who might check for it, you can run your tongue along your teeth, on the surfaces of your teeth, especially the back teeth. You'll always feel something slimy maybe in the morning when you wake up. That is what we call dental plaque. It's not harmful, but it will get harmful if we let it. We are going to explain how it is going to get a bit harmful. So every time we brush, which is what we always encourage, brush as many times as you can. We are always
as many times. So it's not limited to just the 2 times a day.
Not 2 times, not 3 times. It's as many times as you can. Why? Because it's harmless. Brushing as many times as you can is harmless, and it's beneficial by removing that plaque, that film that we've talked about. If you remember, we said every like 5 minutes after brushing, the plaque will form again. Because you cannot eliminate all the bacteria in your mouth. You won't get out the saliva from your mouth. So they're always mixing. So problem begins when you stop brushing well and you stop brushing frequently. So the plaque forms. It forms another layer on top of the first one, and a third layer. By the time you brush, maybe you brush in a hurry, so you only remove 1 layer out of the 3. So by tomorrow, you have like 5 layers. And then they harden. Now all those layers will harden because the deepest layer, which remember it has some bacteria, it's covered by a few more layers on top. So what do you find? You find that the bottom layer will lack oxygen, and the bacteria within them, because they are we call them aerobic, they rely on oxygen to survive, those bacteria. So when they are deprived of oxygen, they'll die off. When they die off, they'll amalgamate, they'll form a hard substance, and that's what we call tartar. Maybe some people have had tartar, some we call it calculus, some will call it dental stones. They're like literally they're like stones on your teeth. And they'll always form at the area between the gum, where the gum and the tooth meet. We call it the cemento-enamel junction, just next to the gum on the surface of the tooth. They like forming there because we have some space beneath the gum where the bacteria will always like hiding, so that they're not washed away by the saliva as you eat and as you chew.
And that is what causes the bad breath.
And that is where, the accumulation won't cause the bad breath. The accumulation will cause what we call gingival inflammation. It will cause the first form of gum disease called gingivitis, where the gum will swell a bit, and then it will progress. As the layers become thicker, the gum will swell more, the gum will start receding, the gum will start bleeding, and then more bacteria will form in there. At one point or the other, we get what we call pus being produced inside that gum. And that is the point where the first sign of bad breath starts coming in. So the sign of a bad breath is that there's so much destruction of your gum that there is now some tissues dying off, and that is why the pus.
Is it that whole process? Is it someone? It sounds like someone can go through that and not even be feeling any pain.
That is the problem with that disease.
So someone may have like pus, and because there's no pain, which, as we're always told, pain is usually is a trigger. It's a symptom for something.
Yes.
But because you don't feel any pain, you're not even taking care of it. And so the bad breath then continues. That is when you start noticing. And of course, most people, unfortunately, you may not feel the bad breath yourself. Maybe other people will. And the mouth being a very sensitive part of the body, no one dares tell someone you have bad breath because of personal relations and all that. So that is how the disease spreads, because someone might feel that you have some bad breath, but they can't tell you. You yourself, you might not. And you don't feel ill.
And it's a silent disease, as we've said. And actually, at the end of the day, it's the #1 cause of tooth loss. So when people age, they don't lose their teeth because they are old. They lost their teeth
gums
because the gum was swollen, it receded, it moved away from the tooth, and the tooth just had to fall off.
Wow. Okay, hold that thought there, Dr. We're going to continue with you in just a bit after the short break. When we come back, he's talked about these 3 layers and how your teeth will just naturally form plaque, was
Plaque,
it?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
dental plaque. And that there were 3 layers of it. And so that raises a lot of questions. We've said brush your teeth as many times as you can a day. But then the other question is how often or how long should you be brushing your teeth for? We're going to be looking at that as well. And of course, if you do have any questions, you can send them in. 22999 is the SMS line. And also comment on our Facebook post at Switch TV Kenya. I'll be back in just a bit. All right, guys, well, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. And of course, we're continuing our discussions here with Dr. Peter Irungu, who's a dental surgeon with Shine Dental Clinic. We've been talking about bad breath, okay? And your questions are coming in. Felicitas watching us from Kasarani, you've SMS'd in on 22999. You say, nauliza mbona kuna watu midomo zao hunukia bado hata baada ya kupiga mswaki. And I think that's what we were talking about, that it could be a condition that now is embedded within the gum.
Severe gum disease now. So there's a level, whether you brush or not, your gum is just swollen, the plaque is so much, it's now tartar. So actually that is what most people describe. I'm brushing my teeth every time, but this thing is not coming out. There's something stuck on my tooth. And it's not coming out. So at that point, we are talking about severe gum disease. It's called periodontitis. And you need to see a dentist. Everyone needs to see a dentist for that.
Okay, so kwa wale mdomo zao hunuka. Sio hunukia, nukia ni kitu kitamu, lakini mdomo hunuka.
Yes.
Haya. Good morning, my teeth turned black from the inside. It really bothers me, and no matter how much I wash it, it never goes away. What's the problem? That's Anne washing us. Watching us from Kasarani.
The plaque and calculus and the tartar itself, it will normally stain after some time.
Okay.
So you'll find it black, you'll find it brown, you'll find it green in color. And as I've said, at one point when it sticks on your tooth, it can't come out. Whether you use a knife or use a spoon or a toothbrush, it won't come out until you see a dentist.
Right.
So that is exactly at that level where she's talking about.
Okay. Grace from Thika says, I've had a cavity for 4 years now. What can be done about it, and can it cause bad breath? 4 years.
Cavities are mostly long-standing because they're gradual. They're just like the gum disease. They're always slow in development. So
but very damaging then.
They are very damaging. Both of those, the cavities and gum disease, they are damaging to your tooth, or to your teeth.
So can it cause, if it gets to her gum, it could possibly cause bad breath?
No, as long as the cavity is forming. A cavity is like a hole. We'll discuss maybe that later. But it will stick, it will get some foodstuffs sticking in, and they'll rot and decay. So it could contribute to the gum disease.
Okay.
So we can't rule it out.
Now, I want us to jump into a few other questions here, but I think this SMS here will actually lead us there. Hey Joyce, I'm Janet from Karatina. My main concern is not on bad breath, but on teeth. I am 25 and 7 of my teeth have already been extracted. I really do not understand what the problem could be. I have always brushed my teeth since I was a young girl, and not just brushing. It took a dentist to show me the correct method of brushing. I'm worried about my teeth, Joyce. Please, please, please present my question to Dr. Peter. What could be wrong with my teeth? So I think on the one hand, maybe you can try and address that question, given that she's saying she already has, a dental hygiene routine and has seen a dentist. But then she raises the question of the correct method of brushing teeth, which I want us to get into as well. But first, any advice for her?
Right. We don't know exactly why she was losing her teeth. Could it be that she had multiple cavities because of her diet and all that? Could it be that there was mistreatment, because sometimes you land in the wrong hands and you lose a tooth that was not supposed to be lost, just for the next day to go back and you lose another one? By the time you get to the right problem where it was, you've lost a couple of teeth. So there are so many factors that could have played a role there. But moving on about how do we care how do you care about our teeth, especially in terms of gum disease. She was actually, she was demonstrated to how maybe she's supposed to brush, which normally, as I had said earlier, you should brush as many times as you can.
Right.
But because of our lifetime duties, our daytime duties, you find that our time is limited at home. So what we normally say is that try to brush in the morning after breakfast and in the evening before you sleep. In the morning after breakfast, some people will get shocked at that because they are used to brushing before they take their breakfast. No harm in that, but we always prefer after breakfast. Why?
Or after any meal.
Yeah, or after any meal. And now for those people who are so busy, now we only have morning and evening. Try to brush after your breakfast in the morning.
How long should you be brushing your teeth for? Some people say 20 minutes.
Not really. It's not about how long. There are so many factors that determine how good you'll do your brushing, even if you do it for 5 minutes. One, it's your toothbrush. Do you have the right toothbrush? Do you have the right quality of a toothbrush? And that is a bit wide open. I can't tell people there is this quality. What we always propose is that get a good toothbrush with medium bristles. Don't go for the hard bristles. Some people get it wrong. They think the harder the bristles, the cleaner your mouth will be. But then the harder the bristles, the more you will damage your teeth by what we call abrasion. Because if you take something hard like a brush and run it even on a wall, it's going to eat away that wall.
So in terms of, you've mentioned that the toothbrush actually really does matter.
Yes.
So it's not always about taking the cheapest option. Are there sort of certain features within a toothbrush that we should be looking for? I know there's things with Sijima marabas, circular things, or longer bristles in the front than they do at the back. Is there sort of anything you can highlight? Not
really, because those are just kind of marketing procedures by the companies. So what matters most, one, as I was saying, is the bristles should be medium in texture. If you read or if you take a keynote on the toothbrushes, they'll always have some label that are soft, medium, hard, and all that. So we always prefer the medium bristles, whether they have the rubbers at the tip, whether they're just plain bristles. That one is just a personal preference. But pick what is medium. We won't talk much about the long areas, the circular ones, because one, as we said, the bristles matter. Number two, the quality will determine how long are you going to use this brush.
How often should you be changing our tooth? Kuna wale, I'm sure if you were to do an investigation, kuna wale hizo toothbrush, unajua the vegans who like walking around with the toothbrush wakitafuna. So one side of the toothbrush is just
haphazard. And that that's not a toothbrush. You should keep your toothbrush as long as the bristles are straight. Straight as the time you bought them. And that is for the right texture, because mind you, if you have the hard one, it will remain straight, but it's damaging your teeth. So if you pick the medium one, after some constant use, maybe after 3 weeks, it depends on the quality. You might find that bristles are now, some are facing east, some are facing west, some are interlocking now, and when you bought them, they were all straight and standing straight, and each on its own. So that is the technique to use to change your toothbrush.
Talk to us about the actual technique, brushing technique, the motion, very briefly.
There's not much information about which technique to use. What matters is your brush touching your teeth? Is your brush touching all your teeth? There are people who are good at brushing only 6 or 8 teeth at the front. Exactly. They just keep rotating the toothbrush there and spitting, and they go. They forget that they have like 20 or so teeth at the back. So the right technique is not about the motion. It's about, do you get to touch each and every tooth? So the best way to do it, just touch on one end, maybe on the right, go to the far end, and while you're doing that, close your mouth. That is the part most people get it wrong. They'll try to brush their back teeth while opening their mouth. So your toothbrush will never go past the third tooth at the corner. Why? Because your muscle will tense. So what you do, you just close your mouth so that the muscle can relax, and your toothbrush will go all the way to the last tooth. And then you run all along and to the other side, and then you move in. That is for the outer side of your teeth.
And you have to do the inner side as well.
Then you do that on the inner side. Of course, now you have to open your mouth. So people should not say, no, you are told to close our mouth, and so the inner side will always rot. And then you do the top part of your posterior teeth, because
talk to us about brushing the tongue, because a lot of us were taught to believe that if you don't brush your tongue, it's also a factor in causing bad breath.
Yeah.
Is that true or false?
Not really true. The tongue is just a soft tissue. So the only thing it does, it has some few roughness because it has what we call like some fur. Your tongue has some furish kind of thing. Yeah? So the much they can do is hold up some little plaque, not a lot, but just a little. So it's always advisable to just run your tongue on it. But we always advise people not to choke on the toothbrush as they brush their tongue.
Yeah, you know, in those neighborhoods where you hear Baba Nani, nika ananyongwa kila asubuhi.
Yeah, why? Because they think that you brush your tongue up to your throat and you shouldn't. Yeah, so just do it up to the most comfortable level.
My director is shocked. Me, I've had such neighbors.
No, it happens.
Unawasikia asubuhi.
It happens actually. It happens, I know. So,
Wadosi wa hii town.
yeah, so don't brush so much back on your
Yeah.
tongue. Just brush up to the point where you feel like retching. Then you'll always know that is the point. And you don't brush your tongue like you're brushing a carpet. Just softly. And as I've said, most of the disease will come from your gums, not on your tongue.
Okay.
So the tongue is just to pity up and you are done.
Finally, talk to us about dental floss and flossing our teeth, because that's one thing Kenyans don't typically tend to do. I know we might use toothpicks, and please, when you're using a toothpick, cover your mouth. But anyway,
true.
very quickly, flossing.
Flossing is a method of cleaning in between your teeth using a thread. It's called a dental floss. So yeah, I know it's not taken up much because it's not that common, but it's advisable to floss your teeth. Get a floss, a dental floss from your supermarket or your chemist. It's normally, nowadays we have the modified ones where they have a holder or kind of a handle. Kitambo, there used to be just a roll of a thread which we had to show people the technique, but that one we'll use the modified one. Just floss in between your teeth, and people floss wrongly for those who floss. Because what they do, once they get the floss in between their teeth, then they'll do like they're cutting out the tooth, and they forget that that is not flossing. You floss up and down.
Okay.
You don't floss like
All right.
you're cutting your tooth.
Great.
So up and down means you're removing any plaque in between your teeth, not like you're cutting it into two.
Okay.
So for those who floss like that, they should know that
They
they've
should
not
stop.
been flossing. Yeah, they've just been buying floss, but not flossing.
They've not been flossing.
Yeah.
Dr. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really do appreciate your time. An important topic, as you've said, you know, the mouth, a sensitive part of our bodies, and so hopefully those of you who've been struggling with this, or you know someone who has, now at least you have a better of an understanding of how to actually help them out. So asante sana for coming.
Thank you very much.
With that said, guys, I do need to tell you about something here, a very interesting project for you. Are you a young person between the ages of 18 to 29 years? And if so, are you interested in developing your skills or finding business opportunities as employment? Well, the Kenya Youth Employment and Opportunities Project is calling for applications from young people residing in 17 participating counties. KYOP offers technical skills, training, and business. They also offer startup capital or capital to expand your business. To qualify, all you need to do is to be a Kenyan citizen between the ages of 18 to 29 years. You need to have your national identity card. You need a maximum level of education of up to Form 4, and you need to be currently unemployed. Women, vulnerable, and marginalized youth are highly encouraged to apply. So the deadline has actually been extended. It's now going until the 24th of June. And to apply, all you need to do is submit online by logging on to mis.kyop.go.ke, or go and get your application form from the youth field offices within participating counties and sub-counties. For more information on this, please do log on to mis.kyop.go.ke or visit youth field offices of the Ministry of Public Service, Youth and Gender in participating counties to apply. The Kenya Youth Employment Opportunities Project yatambua, yainua na yaendeleza vijana. Asanteni sana for that, guys. Thank you once again for being a part of our show. Always a pleasure to have you. Thank you to my guests. I'm going to be back here tomorrow for family and parenting. But until then, have yourselves a blessed day. I'll see you soon. Ciao.